Hey everybody. Oh dear, hold on. This is not gonna work. That glare on these glasses is too much. Okay. We'll have to take these off. I was trying to be cute and fancy. Didn't work. Okay. Welcome back to my channel. This is Fame with Tiffany Renee. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So glad to see you. First and foremost, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone had a great New Year. I am so glad to be making another video. This is my first video for 2022. And I want to thank all of my subscribers. I have a couple of new ones as well who came in late last year and early this year. Thank you. Thank you for all of your comments. I appreciate you. I see you. I love you so much. Thank you for your support. It means so much to me. I know that I may sound a little weird, or my energy may not be as high as it usually is. I'm under the weather. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Have been since Wednesday, and I'm fine. I'm just under the weather, and I'll be okay. Just one of those things. But I did put out there that I think I had mentioned it maybe on Instagram or something like that. I had commented on somebody's page that I was making a video about a certain topic, and this was before I had gotten sick. So I said, hey, I'm gonna make a video this week, and I was like, I have like one day left of this week, and then I got sick on Wednesday. So I wanted to keep my word, and I said, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna get dressed, get a shower and all that. We're going to put on some quick 15-minute makeup and we're going to put on some jewelry just to try to look presentable, basic turtleneck, and we're gonna film this video. We're gonna do it before the end of the week. So this is what we're doing today. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe. It helps my channel and it makes me feel super happy. This is a safe space. We're not in the business of bringing anybody down. So no negative Nellies and Nancys and Neds and all of that. This is a safe space where we just want to promote love and healthy dialogue, and it's okay. You don't have to agree with me. Bless. It's fine. You trust me, you do not have to agree with me. Just because you come to my channel, and even if you subscribe or if you don't subscribe, you do not have to agree with everything that I say. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm not in the business of trying to convert people or trying to convince people of anything. I am just offering awareness and perspective, that, and hopefully just something that makes you think, something that may challenge the status quo, or that may, challenge, a way of thinking that may not be for your highest good, that may not be helping you elevate to who you really want to be. So this is just my opinion. I will reference people from time to time, so feel free to check out those references. But again, you do not have to take what I say as gospel. I'm on my own journey, and I'm only sharing things that I have learned from my own journey, things that have worked for me, things that have not worked for me, experiences that I've had, etc. So that's the disclaimer, okay? We all have free will. We all see the world through our own different lenses, our own different eyes. And so what resonates for one may not resonate for another. I totally respect that. Bless. Okay. This video today, I don't want to make it too long, but it's about this meme that I've been seeing going around on social media, but I've also been hearing it in conversation, even within my own circle. And I may be paraphrasing the meme, but it says something like this: when you're so used to things going bad that when things start to go good or well, you think it's a setup. When you're so used to things going badly that when things start to go well, you think it's a setup. I've seen this meme. I saw it on one of my friends' pages and things like that. And I've seen this a lot on a lot of people's pages within the last month and a half or so. And I was, talking to someone, talking to a friend, and, this friend had said the same thing. And I was just like, maybe this is a sign that I need to make a video about this. That's kind of how I get inspiration to the videos that I make. It's usually if I get the same message multiple times, or if I hear the same word multiple times, or the same phrase, or if the same subject matter comes up multiple times, then I'll say, okay, then maybe I need to make a video about this. And so I really wanted to make a video about that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to call this video yet, but that makes me sad. It's heartbreaking that there are so many people out there who feel that way. And it makes me sad for them. And it makes me mindful, or it helps me recollect the times in my life where I felt that way too. So I totally understand. I can relate to feeling that way. Although I don't, as pessimistic and depressed and sad and all that as I was at one point in time, I never quite got to a point where I guess rejected goodness, if that makes sense. Like, I could, I was more, I guess, of the type of person who felt like good things didn't last in my life. And that's just based off of my life experience, just from being a child. You know what I mean? My parents got divorced, and, there was just a lot of mess going on when I lived with my mom. A lot of mess happened when I lived with my dad. There was just a lot of mess, right? As a child, that I witnessed, that I experienced, and that it just kind of created narratives in my mind, and it created how I view the world in a very specific way. It created a foundation in my mind that the world is scary, that it's not a safe place, that I'm not safe, and that, the world isn't safe, or that, you can't, I don't know, trust friends or family or whatever. It just created these narratives based on what I had experienced as a kid and what I had witnessed and things that had happened to me and stuff like that. And so I created, my mind created this narrative that good things don't last very long, that they're very short-lived. And so when I was a kid, just to give some context, I had, like, anyone who had super duper strict parents could probably relate to this, or guardians. Sometimes really high expectations are set, okay, for kids, and they are ridiculous, like just ridiculously high expectations that just can't be met, right? Unless you're superhuman. Okay. But we were taught to meet certain expectations, how you were not, like, failure was not an option. You were not allowed to make mistakes. you were going to be met with punishment. Like you weren't allowed to make mistakes in any capacity, not in school, not with, religion, not with life, like nothing, right? So making mistakes meant that you were like a bad person or something. You know what I mean? Like that's how my child mind made that association. So that became my foundation. So my idea of success and things like that really really high. My own expectations that I set for myself is really really high. And so when I was in therapy a couple of years ago, um, I brought this up with my therapist. And side note, there is nothing wrong with going to therapy. I'm just putting that out there, okay? I'm putting that out there because when I started going, I made a conscious decision to go a few years ago after I had done some work on myself. And I felt like, okay, I've done a lot of work on my own personal issues. I think I may need some additional help. I made a decision to go. And I was met with some resistance with people, okay, who felt like I didn't need to go. And they had their own reasons. Bless, right? There is nothing wrong with seeking out assistance. There's nothing wrong with finding somebody to help you on your journey to healing and self-discovery and self-rediscovery. Okay? This is your life. This is your journey. Nobody has the right to tell you what resources you should and should not be using to help you be a better version of you. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. There's this stigma around it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. If you want to go to therapy, go to therapy. Okay? Honestly, personally, I think it's incredible. Okay? It helped me a lot the 2 years that I was going. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. My therapist asked me questions that I never would have thought to ask, that no one else had asked me. And it forced me to think about things that I never would have thought about myself. That helped me. That helped my growth. And it helped me become aware of issues I didn't even know I had. Okay? It helped me a lot. Okay? So I'm just throwing that out there. There is something that I can't even explain that's so, dare I say, refreshing about somebody who doesn't know you from a can of paint, who's meeting you where you are based on whatever growth you may have already made, who's meeting you as you are when you walk into their office. They don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about your past. They don't know your past mistakes. They can't bring up anything from your past and throw them back in your face and say, well, remember that one time, or yeah, you said that before at that. They can't do that. They're completely unbiased, right? They're just there to help guide you to find out things about you that's going to help you get in touch with you. And the fact that my therapist was just didn't know me. There's just something so refreshing in talking to somebody who doesn't know you, but they know you as the version of you who walks into that door. So I digress, but there's nothing wrong with going to therapy if you choose to do so. I'm just saying. But back to the story at hand. I went to see my therapist at the time, and she asked me why I took certain victories that I had and dismissed them so quickly. It didn't matter what it was, if it was at work, if it was with something else, or whatever, if it was I had deliberately manifested something or whatever, why I would just enjoy it for a very short period of time, sometimes just a few minutes or a couple of hours. And then I dismiss it and just like, okay, on to something else. She's like, why don't you just savor your victories? And no one had ever asked me that before. And I really sat there and I said, wait a minute, let me think about that for a minute. And she was like, take your time. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about this. And I said, well, I think because expectations were set for me as a kid. And no one really came into my life to tell me that, girl, these expectations are unrealistic. These are ridiculous. You don't have to, these are not even logical expectations. Like, you don't have to subscribe to these expectations. No one came in to do that for me as I was growing up. So they were always there. And I carried them into my adult life. I was well into my 30s. I was in my mid 30s when I was seeing her and she asked me that question. So I was in my mid 30s. I was like 35, 36 years old. And she had just pointed that out to me. So my whole life, I had been trying to meet a certain set of expectations that were ridiculous, that weren't even conducive to who I was. And so any victory that I had, it was not enough because it wasn't that pinnacle of success that I was made to believe would define me ultimately as a person of value or as a success or as victorious. So any little milestones I may have crossed in between, they meant little to nothing. I didn't savor them. I didn't really sit in the gratitude of them. And I have to catch myself because I find myself doing that now. So that's something that I'm still working on. Reprogramming that belief about, or kind of redefining expectation and what is true expectation for me, as opposed to expectations that were placed on me, right? Now, I say this to bring it back around to the point of this video. I say that because our environment teaches us at a very young age what to expect when we get older. And I'm going to use an example. Let's say you're a child and you are witnessing a woman. Let's say you're being raised by a woman and she has relationship problems, okay? Because I usually see that meme when people are talking about relationships or situationships. It's usually some sort of like subliminal message or something like that they're trying to send to a particular person. But it's very interesting, that dynamic. So if you're a child and you're witnessing a woman, your guardian, your mom, auntie, older sister, whatever, and you're watching them go through this series of trial and error, I guess, when it comes to relationships and whatever the dynamic of their relationship is, it doesn't matter. But you notice that all her relationships are toxic. They're unfulfilling. Her partner is maybe unfaithful or is abusive, whether it's physically, emotionally, psychologically. Maybe, she was always the one working and the partner never worked but always complained and everything was always her fault, and you saw her always doing all this work to try to please the partner, and and nothing she did was ever good enough. Or you would be at the hair salon with her and all she did was talk about the trials and tribulations of relationships and all that stuff and all these horrible things that her partner would do, or the not enoughness that she felt being with the partner. But she would always bring it back and say that, but I love the person, but I love this person, but I love this person. We argue like the Dickens, but I still love this person, or this person, is so abusive to me, but I still love this person. It's just because I love this person, or it's because, I know this person loves me, or they wouldn't act like that, or they would have been gone, or I would have been gone, whatever. And you're a kid and you're absorbing all of this, or you're witnessing the dysfunction, you're witnessing the fighting, you're witnessing the screaming, you're witnessing, the belittling and all of that, or you're witnessing the distance, or the coldness. You're seeing all of this and you're just absorbing it in your little mind because you're a sponge at that age. Or you're witnessing it happen in your neighborhood or with your aunties or with, whoever, your friends' parents or whatnot. And you're not seeing any relationships that contradict that, except maybe on TV. You know what I mean? But on TV, if you're watching reruns of, out of the Fresh Prince or whatever, and you see a loving household, or another TV show, The Brady Bunch or whatever, where the mom and dads or parents, whoever, whatever dynamic it is, where the two parent household or the relationship seems to be solid, that's considered make believe. It's like, well, that's not real. You know what I mean? That's not real life. That's just television. That's fantasy. So you don't have anything telling you that what you're witnessing in your life isn't the only way to have a relationship. So that's what you grow up believing. That's your foundation. That is what your neurological pathways are in your brain. That is how you have defined relationships. Okay? So now, the world is now being filtered through your eyes and through your lenses from that belief system. So all of the relationships that you experience and that come into your life and that everyone else in your life pretty much experience are going to mirror what you define as a real, genuine relationship, which will probably include abusive relationships, belittling, fighting, distance, infidelity, coldness, mistrust, like all of those toxic things, gaslighting, all of that. But then you will justify it and defend it by saying, well, this is what love is. It's because we love each other. This is why this happens. And I was just watching a documentary about Natalie Wood, who was a big Hollywood icon back in the day. One of her most iconic roles, ironically, was when she played a Puerto Rican, which would never happen now because she was a white lady. But at the time, she was Maria in West Side Story. That's who Natalie Wood was. And she had a multitude of others. She was in Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean. I mean, swoon. Okay, but she was a really big star. She was married to Robert Wagner, also swoon. Like, how hunky was he? So she was dating Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty was another Hollywood star. He was Dick Tracy. Like the iconic Dick Tracy, okay? Check out Dick Tracy. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. He was Dick Tracy. So she was dating Warren Beatty when he was super young and she was super young. And they had a volatile relationship. And she was quoted as saying that they thought that like fighting was their way, like that just fighting and having that volatile, explosive relationship was expressing emotions. Like that was them expressing their emotional truth. That is what I notice quite a few people experience, and I think that's what that quote implies. That when things are going so well, when you're so used to things being toxic, that when they start to go well, it's like you think you start to feel set up, like, oh, this can't. Well, who's doing the setting up? That's the question. Because everything is you. Everyone is you pushed out. So everything is what you say it is. Now, remember, this is not blame, right? No one's blaming you. It's valid that you feel that way because your experience is telling you to feel that way. But what I'm saying is, if there is a setup, it is you setting yourself up for the letdown. And it's a defense mechanism that the ego puts in place. That's all it is. That is my understanding. That is what it is. The ego is there to protect you when it experiences a trauma or something that the body responds to intently in fight or flight mode and all that stuff, a disruption nervous system and all that. It doesn't like it. And so it puts a label on it and sticks it in the Rolodex in your subconscious mind and says, when this happens, this equals to a negative response. So if anything shows up that even looks like it could possibly be this type of situation, we're going to have a fight or flight response, and we're going to respond accordingly. And it's going to be, I'm a get you before you can get me type of situation. And I noticed that that is usually what transpires when people have that foundation or that mentality when it comes to relationship dynamics. Now, I'm using relationships as an example, but this applies to everything. There are people who feel this way. If life is going too well for them, they start to panic and they will self-sabotage. The ego kicks in and says, like, mayday, mayday, does not compute, too much well-being is happening, this is abnormal, so I need to create something, I need to create chaos, I need to do something that's going to sabotage and wreck this well-being so I can get back to my comfortable chaos, because not because I like it, but because it's familiar and I know what to expect. So obviously, when you've been swimming around in the realm of chaos and dysfunction and sadness and fear, and toxicity for so long, that becomes your normal. That becomes what's familiar. That becomes home to you. So anything that's not that comes into your life, it's coming from the unknown. And your ego is going to panic because it doesn't know what that is. It doesn't know what a kind, loving, healthy relationship looks like because it's never seen one and it's never experienced one. So it doesn't know what that is. It's a foreign body. And it will treat it like a virus. This loving, beautiful person is going to come into your life, into this toxic body, and the toxic body is going to attack the loving virus, or this good bacteria, I should say. It's going to attack the good bacteria because it's invading the body. It's a foreign object. And when something foreign comes into the body's immune system kicks in and tries to fight it off. That's what's happening mentally and energetically and emotionally. You start to fight off the good things that's coming to you. It's like your knee-jerk reaction. It's a reflex. It's a defense mechanism. So what you have to do, because this video is getting long already, I recommend doing, you don't have to do anything, okay? But what I would recommend you do is explore that fear. Explore why you react that way. Explore when it started. When did you first notice that you feel that way about life or about relationships or about any aspect of anything? When did you start to feel that, okay, I'm in waiting for the other shoe to drop mode? What transpired to get you there? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience? And then you take that and you say, okay, that happened. That is my past. I see it. I honor it. And it does not have to be my future. It doesn't have to be my present. Because if something good is still coming to me, in spite of what my foundation, in spite of how shaky and disruptive and dysfunctional and toxic my foundation was, if good things are still showing up in my life, that means something out there, call it whatever you want, God, creator, whatever, is still saying that I'm worthy of good things in spite of what's already happened to me, in spite of all the horrible, toxic relationships I've already had. My creator, God, is still telling me you're still worthy of good things. You're still worthy of a good relationship. Whether you think so or not, that's your problem. But as your creator, I'm telling you, you're still worthy of a good relationship. And I'm bringing one to you. Now, whether you receive that or not, that's entirely up to you, boo. But I'm letting you know that you're worthy of one. But because you have free will, you can choose to take it or you can choose to reject it. And that is when you cross into the universal law of cause and effect. There's a consequence to that. What will be the consequence of rejecting a gift from God, from the universe? Who knows? But I learned you never look a gift horse in the mouth, okay? If God, if the universe, come on with the gifts, okay? Because if I'm getting divine gifts, it's only going to work for my good. It's a divine gift. You know what I'm saying? Of course it's going to be incredible. Of course it's going to be magical. Of course it's going to be amazing. It's a divine gift. I'm not going to turn away a divine gift. Especially if it's something that I've been praying for or asking for or trying to meditate on or trying to deliberately manifest and call forth into my life. The only way I would reject it is if deep down I don't believe that I deserve it. That's the only reason why I would reject it. That's why we reject good things. Because deep down, we don't believe we deserve it. Why don't you believe you deserve it? Amanda Frances has this amazing book called Riches, F-U-C-K. That's literally the name of the book. She's a self-made millionaire. And she has a chapter in there about the victim mentality type of situation. And it's pretty much about where she had a moment where she had to question whether or not she deserved to be a millionaire because her story wasn't like intense enough. Like she didn't come from poverty. She wasn't homeless and she didn't live under a bridge and she didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? So she kind of felt like, do I deserve to be a millionaire? Do I deserve to be a wealthy woman? Because I don't have this intense victim background. And then she learned through her own spiritual journey that you don't need to have a victim story in order to be victorious. That's irrelevant. If you have a victim story, it's not to achieve goodness. It's to achieve wholeness inside of you. It has nothing to do with what you can accumulate in this material world. It's about what you can fulfill internally. Right? So, is that part of the problem? Do you think that you're not worthy of good things because you don't feel like you've gone through enough? Would you feel guilty? Like, oh, I haven't gone through enough. So maybe I don't deserve that raise because, I haven't been at the company that long, or I haven't, I was a part of the strike. I didn't have to go through a lot of stuff that some of the other workers did. So what does that have anything to do with whether or not you deserve that raise? You're good at your job, aren't you? Right? Like, you can do the work, can't you? Like, what does that have anything to do? And I'm talking to myself as well, okay? I just had this conversation with me, like, last night with my aunt because I was having a meltdown, right? Just being sick and being emotional, okay? I have the same issues. Like, I have the same questions. I've been on my weight release journey, but, I'm still jiggly in certain places. I still, got some fupa action, still got some jiggly, arm action, even though I'm over 30 pounds lighter. There's still this program running in my head that I was made to believe was true since I was very young, that I have to look a certain way, in order to be considered attractive and sexy and lovable by a hot guy. You know what I mean? Who's gonna love me and appreciate me and all that. There's still a program running in there. And I know it's a lie. Okay, that's how I know I'm making progress. I know it's a lie. I know it's not true. I don't believe it, but it's still running. So the voice still comes up. So I know it's not true, but I still have to work on completely shushing that voice, because sometimes it gets a little loud. Sometimes it does. Real talk. Sometimes it gets loud, and sometimes I have my moments where I'm just a mess. Looking at myself in the mirror, just like, oh my God, what do you look like? You know what I mean? And then I'm like, just kidding. I have the best body in the world. OMG, I am totally body goals. I have to do that. That's what Roxy talks about, flipping those thoughts, flipping them in the moment. Like, I have to keep doing that for my own sake, for my own sanity, so I don't go down that rabbit hole and spiral. So the whole idea of when things start to, when you're so used to things going bad, that when they start to go well, you think you're being set up. You are the only one setting yourself up. No one else can set you up for keeping well-being from you but you. It's an internal thing. Nothing in the outside can influence anything. Only you can influence what goes on in your 3D reality. Period. Period. Whether you believe it or not. Which is so fantastic, because you don't even have to believe it for it to be true. You don't have to believe that. That's how law of attraction works. It's like, you can not believe something so much, and the law of attraction will show you so much evidence to support how much you don't believe it. Abraham Hicks has this amazing quote that she says that you are free, and you are so free that you can choose to hold yourself in bondage. That is how free you are. Let that sink in. You are so free to create the life that you want. You are so free to welcome in well-being. You are so free. I'm getting emotional. You are so free. You are so free to invite love in, real love, true love, love that is kind, that is patient, love that is gentle, love that is exciting, love that is lasting, love that is sincere and genuine, love that is safe. You are so free to live your best life that you can choose. You can literally make a conscious or unconscious decision to live in bondage, to live tethered to pain, to victimization, to suffering, to fear, to poverty. You can choose to be less than what you really are. You can choose to give your power away. You can choose. You can choose to stay in the toxic places that feel comfortable to you, instead of breaking free and elevating yourself to be in a state of love with people and around people and energy that supports that. That's how free you are. Nothing on the outside can get in the way of that. That is a you versus you situation. It is your responsibility to decide. The buck stops here. I used to subscribe to that. I'm not subscribing to that anymore. This meme used to be true for me. It's not true for me anymore. I may not believe it right now, but I'm going to keep saying it until I believe it, because it's going to show up in my reality. It's your responsibility to do that. Nobody can do it for you. Only you. Only you. Only you have the power. You've always had the power. Always. It appears that other people may have the power. It appears that other people have influence over you. It appears. A lot of things appear to be true, but they're not true. You are true. Whatever's going on in here and in here influences what's going on out here. In your life, in the whole world. Everything is filtered through your eyes. Whatever you believe to be true is true. Say that again. Whatever you believe to be true is true. That is what's going to manifest. Whatever you believe is possible is going to be possible. You're going to see evidence of possibilities of those things happening. And I may make a video. My next video may be about that exact thing. Whatever you believe in is what shows up. That's literally how your life is created, is by what you believe to be true. That is literally how you are having a life. Is because you are believing things in every second that you're alive. Otherwise, you would have no life. You wouldn't be alive. So I may make a video about that. Okay. Sorry this video is long. It's like 40 minutes long. And I hope you understood everything. I know. I hope I wasn't all over the place. You know, I tried to kind of pull it all together. But thanks for sticking with me if you've watched this far. I appreciate you. I hope this helped you. I hope this elevated you. I hope this empowered you. I hope it reminded you of your power, that you are amazing, and that you have the ability to be, do, or have anything you want. No exceptions, no limitations, except the limitations you have placed on yourself. That's it. There is no glass ceiling, because there is no ceiling. You have the power. You've always had it. It's inside of you. I appreciate you. I love you all. Take care. Thank you for bearing with me during this video. And my next video, hopefully I'll be a lot better. And I'll be back to my more energetic self. And you all take care. Have a great day or evening, wherever you are. Like, share, subscribe. Take care. Bye.